Tonight on America This Week, United We Stand.
This is one of the first videos of its kind where you can actually see the crime there on tape.
You won't want to miss my interview with James O'Keefe on the latest Project Veritas bombshell. Plus, as the fight for the White House heats up,
I'm in favor of law. You follow it.
Are you in favor of law and order?
Yes, I'm in favor.
You asked a question, let him finish.
It's round one of the presidential debates.
It was quite the show. I wouldn't even call it a debate because it wasn't a debate.
Former Deputy National Press Secretary for the Democratic Party, Jose Aristimuño, is back.
It looked like a brawl out behind the gymnasium.
Plus, Congressman Babin is back. And my discussion with the co-authors of the new book, Trump, America First, Corey Lewandowski and David Bossie are here. That and so much more right now in America This Week. United We Stand. Welcome to America This Week, United We Stand. The election is a few short weeks away, and the first presidential debate took place this week. Round one in the fight for the presidency covered topics ranging from race in America, the Supreme Court, and, of course, COVID-19. We're going to break down the highlights from the night a little bit later. But first, President Trump has called for an investigation of alleged ballot harvesting and potential voter fraud in Minnesota based on a report released by Project Veritas. Joining me now is James O'Keefe, founder of Project Veritas. James, thank you very much for joining us. Before we delve into what you found, let's hear what President Trump had to say on the debate stage this week.
These people aren't equipped to handle it, number one. Number two,
Okay.
They cheat. They cheat. Hey, they found ballots in a waste paper basket 3 days ago, and they all had the name military ballots. They were military. They all had the name Trump on them.
And now, James, you found something even more disturbing. Let me let you explain it in your own words. What'd you find?
Well, we found a car filled with ballots in Minnesota. This was a person bragging about how their car was filled with absentee ballots. The ballots were taken away from the elderly inside these residences. We also have on tape an exchange of money from a ballot harvester in exchange for a voter registration form, which is a federal felony. So we have hard evidence on tape. There you have it there. Hard evidence just of all these ballots in Minnesota and Minneapolis that were harvested illegally in violation of the federal law. And this is one of the first videos of its kind where you can actually see the crime there on tape.
Yeah, it's disturbing to hear it and see it, and it literally looks like they're at some times paying money for ballots that aren't filled out yet, presumably to fill them out and turn them in. Ilhan Omar has been circulated as one of the people may have been benefiting from this ballot harvesting scheme. I noticed Snopes says there's no tie. What do you know about it?
Well, what we know is that her deputy campaign guy, Ali Issei, was behind this. We have sources in the community saying this. And we also know that a lot of the people in the Somali community feel like they're victims. That's why they wore the hidden cameras to expose this. This is an open secret in Minnesota and Minneapolis that this is happening and that the money is coming from the campaign. One of the ballot harvesters told us in Somali that he was told to vote for Ilhan Omar and that the political campaigns pay for this money. So you see in the videotape the actual cash, $200 cash, is given to the voter. You can actually see it in the video. It is a federal crime, and this is one of the first times we've actually been able to see it. And we think that Barr and the Justice Department should do something about it. And we know that the police are now investigating in Minnesota because it's also a crime to have in your possession more than 3 ballots at any time. So it's a state and federal crime on the tape there. And as you say, it's probably the strongest evidence so far of ballot fraud.
There's discussion of whether this is systemic or not. Systemic ballot harvesting. Are there any other examples of this?
Well, it's systemic there in Minneapolis insofar as there's hundreds of ballots on the tape and dozens of examples and instances. I mean, it's not just anecdotal. It's self-evident that this is happening in Minnesota with thousands of ballots. Dozens of sources recorded on tape saying they do this. It's going to be happening elsewhere. It's you're going to have 25 million mail-in ballots, or however many the number is. So it doesn't take a mathematician to deduce that if this is happening at such a scale in one place, it is going to be happening elsewhere. The challenge, Eric, is getting the sources close to the fraud to report it That was the challenge
that's
for
what
us.
I want to ask, James. That is, the string. Where does the string lead? Follow the money is it? I used to host a show called Follow the Money. You can't believe how much corruption you find when you continue to follow the money. Do you have a link to where this money is coming from to buy these ballots?
Yeah, it's coming from the campaign, according to the sources we spoke
Which
to.
campaign, James? Which one? Are you talking about Ilhan Omar's campaign? Or
Ilhan Omar campaign, and a man named Ali Issei runs her campaign. It's coming from them, according to our sources, according to the voters that are pressured to do this. They're coerced to do this. They're lined up inside the voting booth, and they're told who to vote for. The ballots in that car, many of them were blank from Liban Mohammed, who's in the vehicle. They were blank ballots that they had paid for. They had pressured people for. Yeah. So this is systemic. The margin of victory in Minnesota was hundreds of votes in 2008. So it's just a question of, Eric, more whistleblowers out there in the United States who are close to these campaigns, willing to betray the confidence of the people who are committing fraud.
I got to go, but I got to tell you, this is extremely disturbing. Personally, I think people should be disqualified if there is such a tie to the campaign like this. They should be absolutely not allowed to be elected to these offices in America. James O'Keefe, thank you very much for your time and your work.
Thank you, Eric.
Ahead on America This Week, United We Stand, we're taking a look at the highs and lows of the first presidential debate. I'll be hosting an America This Week town hall with President Donald Trump next Friday, October 9th. The hour-long conversation will focus on the key battleground states as well as all the topics important to America. Be sure to check your Sinclair station's website for details. We've also made the same offer to Joe Biden's campaign. We're still waiting to hear if they accept.
United we stand, we never fall. This perilous fight, it takes one and all. Everyone stands, American strong. Strength by one equals strength by all. American values, American pride. Your neighbor needs you, each person, each time.
We stand, America.
United we stand.
We stand, America.
United we stand.
Our president screwing things up.
You were a senator. And
You're
by
the
way,
worst
you were a
president
vice-
America has ever had.
Hey,
Come
Joe,
on.
let me just tell you, Joe. I've done more in 47 months. I've done more than you've done in 47 years, Joe.
The first presidential debate was filled with heated exchanges as the battle for the White House continues. Joining me now to discuss the wins and the losses of the debate is the former Deputy National Press Secretary for the Democratic Party and political commentator, my friend Jose Aristimuño. Jose, you may not have loved the debate. Personally, I love this stuff. I'm a political junkie. I just can't stop watching it. But I will tell you that, does it not strike you as odd that in 47 months, and that's exactly how many it's been, Trump can say in exactly 47 years, Joe Biden's been in Congress? Boy, that thing landed like a blow, like a haymaker right on the jaw of Biden. I'm surprised he didn't fall off the stage.
Look, I mean, it was a show. It was quite the show. I wouldn't even call it a debate because it wasn't a debate. The majority of the time, President Trump was interrupting the vice president and even Chris Wallace. So I wouldn't even call it a debate, first and foremost. In regards to the president's line about the 47 years, it's a good line of 47 months. It's a great line. I give it to him now. But overall, the president seemed nervous. He seemed lost. He seemed just not ready. He said it, right? He said he didn't prepare for the debate. That's why he interrupted the vice president majority of the time, because he's got no solutions, Eric. Zero solutions on COVID-19, zero solutions on the economy. And even if you actually look at what he said, it makes no sense, because what we do know is that under Obama, the last 3 years of the Obama presidency, we created more jobs than President Trump created
that
in
is
his
such
first
cherry
year.
picking, Jose. That is such cherry picking. The last 2 years, if you take the full Obama presidency, the numbers are nowhere near where they are for the first. I'll do it with you. Let's take the first three years of the Trump presidency, and he blows Obama out of the water. You can't cherry pick. You got to take the picture in full. Jose, I'm going to push back because I think that the Trump economy has been pretty stunning. I am a Republican. I never saw a recovery off the lows the way this economy has recovered in the midst of a pandemic killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. By the way, nothing he did here, nothing Trump did, came from China, my friend.
Well, let's talk about that, and I think we'll need a longer show to analyze it. But quickly, I'll say this, right? First and foremost, we know President Trump. First and foremost, he inherited the economy from Obama. That's just facts, right? The economy was already on a growing trend, and it was very easy for Trump to be like, oh, we're winning. The stock market is up. That was Obama's doing, not the president's. That's number one. Number two, you're talking about the recovery that supposedly has happened. I think it's too early to tell. I think it's too early to even see what we're looking at. First and foremost, if their recovery was so amazing, Americans wouldn't be hurting the way they are right now.
How they hurting, Jose? How they hurting? I hear this from the left all the time. Oh, they're hurting so badly. People aren't even going back to work because they're being paid not to go. You don't know who's hurting. Who's hurting, Jose?
The American people are hurting, Eric. You go out there, you talk.
More specific, because African Americans aren't hurting, Hispanics aren't hurting. They're at the highest wages they've ever been at in the history of the country. I'm trying to figure out who in the heck is hurting.
That's just not true. That's just not true. If they weren't hurting, there wouldn't be such an urgency to put together another economic relief on the table, which is the president.
Jose, everyone wants free money. Everyone wants the free money. Can't make it rain. Make it rain. I'd rather sit home, get $600 a week or a $600 payout or $2,000, whatever it ends up being, than have to go back to work. Of course. I'm hurting. I'm really hurting badly.
So we shouldn't help the American people if they need help, because America just went through the worst pandemic.
Not what I said. Not what I said. I said help people out.
That's what
I said help people out. I said this fake news that the American people are hurting so badly when the economy is ripping on everything, car sales, home sales, price, everything is strong. Everyone's hurting. Come on, this is a Democrat talking point. Quick final thought.
I disagree. Look, I can tell you this: we got a couple more debates to go. The president needs to do a heck of a lot better job if he wants to win back the presidency. Look, I'm not a huge fan of polls. You know that you and I have discussed that the poll said that Hillary Clinton was going to win, and she didn't. But what's different this time around is that some of the swing states, Wisconsin, Michigan, some of the big states, the polls are actually going for Biden, and they weren't going for Hillary 4 years ago.
They were.
So
Jose, I got to leave it right there, but they're almost in the very similar positions on the state level. Going to have to leave it there. Jose Aristimuño, thank you very much, my friend.
Thanks so much.
Joining me now are two special guests, the co-authors of the new book, Trump, America First, Corey Lewandowski, senior advisor of the president's reelection campaign, and David Bossie, the deputy campaign manager of President Trump's 2016 campaign. Thank you, gentlemen, both, for joining us. Corey, you've been here a few times. I want to get to Bossie. I don't think he's been on the show yet. Bossie, what's going on, man? This debate that happened this week, it was bonkers. Just released the Committee on Presidential Debates saying additional structure may be needed for debates 2 and 3. Your thoughts?
I don't know what structure means, but I can tell you that the president's going to make up his own rules as he determines them, because he's going to make Joe Biden have to answer the questions that he wouldn't answer last night. We all watched what happened last night. Joe Biden couldn't condemn Antifa. He couldn't name one police organization that has endorsed him. No rules changes is going to save him from the policy differences that he has with President Trump and President Trump's incredible list of accomplishments. It's just no rules change is going to help him.
Corey, I've known the guy, President Trump, for probably 17 years now, clearly more than 15 years, going way back to the early days of even before Apprentice days. The man is not a racist. I know he's not a racist. Why is he not prepped that when he's asked the question about white supremacists, he can't answer it better?
Eric, what he said to Chris Wallace during the debate was, who do you want me to condemn? I'll condemn them. I'll condemn them all. And he's very comfortable with that. And, Eric, but let me tell you, when you look at what Donald Trump has done for the African-American community, whether it's the First Step Act, whether it's economic empowerment zones, whether it's more funding for historical black colleges and universities, and you position that against where Joe Biden has been, he called African-American males super predators from the Senate floor. He spoke at the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan's funeral in West Virginia just a decade ago. He told us, you ain't black if you don't vote for me to Charlemagne to God. And he called he asked an African-American reporter if she was on crack recently. I mean, look, we're happy to put this president's record when it comes to minorities up against Joe Biden every single day because Donald Trump treats everybody equally.
My audience needs to know Corey Lewandowski, who was campaign manager in 2016, brought Trump right to the presidency. Dave, you were there as well in 16. Corey's here in 2020. Dave Bossie, tell Corey Lewandowski what 2020 campaign needs to do. You got 4 or 5 weeks left before the election. Trailing in some swing states, what do they need to do?
Well, I don't see us. I see our path to 270 is crystal clear. We are in a very good place, just as we were in 2016. About this far out, everybody counted us out. The week of the first debate, the sky was falling. Hillary Clinton was going to win. Donald Trump stylistically, wasn't very good, and he didn't know what he was doing in the debate. He won. He's a winner. He's a proven winner. And when you're the president of the United States, this is a heavyweight championship fight, okay? Joe Biden just isn't going to get the keys turned over to him. He's going to have to come in and beat the champ. And I got to tell you, he didn't do that this week at the debate, and we'll see what he does in the next couple of debates. I know they're going to try to create some rules to protect his frail little self, but Donald Trump wants this to be about the issues. Higher taxes versus lower taxes, open borders versus border security, free health care for illegals versus no free health care for illegals when Americans aren't getting it. Anarchy in the streets and defunding the police versus law and order. This is an issue-based campaign. President Trump is going to win because of the issues, and he is on the right side. He's on the people, the American people's side, and that's why he's going to get more votes on Election Day.
Corey, I got about 30 seconds or so. The path to 270 for the presidency has to go through either Pennsylvania or North Carolina, otherwise it gets pretty complicated. Where do you stand?
Eric, look, we're going to win in North Carolina just like Donald Trump did last time. We're also going to win in a state like Minnesota that no Republican presidential candidate has won since 1972. Donald Trump's going to win my home state of New Hampshire, which he narrowly lost by just under 2,800 votes 4 years ago. You couple Minnesota plus New Hampshire, that's 14 electoral votes. We're on the offense in Nevada. Eric, I know people don't believe this. Donald Trump's going to win by a larger electoral margin in 2020 than he did in 2016. This one isn't going to be close.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. Corey Lewandowski, Dave Bossie, good friends of mine both. The book is called Trump, America First. Thanks, you guys. Coming up on America This Week United, we stand the first night of debates and a Supreme Court nomination. You won't want to miss my conversation with Congressman Brian Babin. And for the last few weeks, I've asked for your help in fighting the opioid epidemic. I'm continuing to work with the U.S. Office of Drug Policy and have taken you to the front lines of the battle, exposing drug cartels who make billions of dollars poisoning our children. I've shown you how they bring in drugs by land, sea, air, and even mail. I've also introduced you to the boots on the ground, the men, women, and canines whose tireless efforts help keep those drugs from entering the U.S. And that fight can't continue without your help. Please make a donation to the Eric Chase Foundation. Go to ericchasefoundation.org. 100% of the proceeds go towards exposing the drug cartels and will hopefully save families the heartache of losing a child, a mother, a father, a sibling. The list goes on. Every week, the top donors will get a signed copy of my book, Wake Up America, as a thank you for your support. Again, thank you so much to each and every one of you who have donated so far. It takes all of us to end this epidemic.
United we stand, we never fall. This perilous fight, it takes one and all. Everyone stands, American strong. Strength by one equals strength by all. American values, American pride. Your neighbor needs you, each person, each time.
We stand American strong.
United we stand.
We stand American strong. City by city, state by state, town by town, stand American great. Everyone stands American strong. When strength by one equals strength by all.
American values, American pride. Your neighbor needs you, each person, each time.
We stand American strong.
United we stand.
We stand American strong.
United we stand.
America This Week, America's fastest growing political show, points out how rough and tumble politics shape opinion in every region in our country. We tell American stories, stories that touch our people, determine our politics, focus on the future of America.
I'm Eric Bolling. Join me for a fascinating look at America this week.
No, sir.
With $1 billion, if you
that
don't get rid
is
of the
absolutely
you know what,
not
you're
true.
on tape doing it.
You're going to
You're on
have
tape.
True.
Gentlemen. I hate to raise
Chris,
my voice,
he's
but I
on
think it seems
tape.
to be, why shouldn't I be different than the two of you?
Not only was it a heated discussion between Trump and Biden, there were heated exchanges between the moderator and Trump as well. Joining me now to discuss the highlights from the first presidential debate is Texas Congressman Brian Babin. Thank you, Congressman. So, you know, what's your takeaway? I mean, the American people seem to be the biggest loser in this. I don't know even know what to call it. Fight, mosh pit.
It looked like a brawl out behind the gymnasium. That's what it looked like.
Who won?
Oh, I think the president came out ahead. He certainly was forceful, and that's his nature. And I tell you what, I think that Joe Biden has shown himself to be a complete hypocrite. He went low almost immediately, lit into the president, and quite frankly, I hate to use this word, but he looked like a buffoon and very mean-spirited. And I only wish that he would land on one side of these issues and stay there instead of changing on a daily basis. It's incredible how much he tried to distance himself from AOC and from Bernie Sanders, the Green New Deal, and stacking the court. You name it. It's just crazy to see him all over the board like that. Absurd.
At one point, Trump turned to Vice President Biden and said, you know what, you just lost the far left, and pointing out what you just said right there, AOC and the far left, the Bernie Sanders wing of the party. Can Biden, win without that wing of the party?
I really don't think he can. His running mate, she's right over there with the radicals. She was one of the original co-sponsors of the Green New Deal in the Senate. And quite frankly, you go to Vice President Biden's page on social media, and he's staked out a position with the Green New Deal, that it's a framework with which to work. So I can tell you, being from the state of Texas, getting rid of all fossil fuels, the oil and gas industry would be just a tremendous disaster. And he's hiding. He's actually hiding, not only in the basement, but hiding his positions. Because I remember distinctly seeing him, Eric, and hearing him say that he was going to retrain all of the oil and gas workers in the country into other industries. So obviously he's against fossil fuels.
Well, yeah, and I think you're hitting on exactly the reason why he pushed away from the Green New Deal is because he has to win Pennsylvania. If he doesn't win Pennsylvania, it's going to be a very difficult win for Vice President Biden to win the election. And so, as you know, there's a lot of gas production, a lot of oil production in the state of Pennsylvania. So he doesn't want to look like he's attaching himself to non-fossil fuel energy production.
Not at all. I think he's got to have middle of the road folks. And the way he has been behaving this past few months, he's been in favor of defunding the police departments. He has sided with these Democrats that have fomented and enabled a lot of this rioting and civil disobedience going on around the violence around the country. And I'll tell you something else. I was very disappointed in Mr. Wallace last night, because I think certainly both of them were interrupting. There's no question about it. But he really came down hard on the president and pretty much ignored Mr. Biden. And I think that his true colors may have come out there. I'm very disappointed to see that.
Yep. All right, we're going to have to leave it there. We ran out of time. I want to say thank you to Congressman Brian Babin from Texas. Appreciate your time, sir.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to set your DVR so you never miss an episode of America This Week, United We Stand. To find out when we air in your city, go to facebook.com/America Bowling, all one word. We have a complete list of cities at the top of that page. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So if you missed the show or want to rewatch an interview, you can catch all of them there.
United we stand, we never fall. This perilous fight, it takes one and all. Everyone stands, American strong. Strength by one equals strength by all. American values, American pride. Your neighbor needs you, each person, each time. We stand, America. United we stand. We stand, America. United we stand. United we stand, we never fall. This perilous fight, it takes one and all. Everyone stands, American strong. Strength by one equals strength by all. American values, American pride. Your neighbor needs you, each person, each time. We stand, America. United we stand. We stand, America. United we stand.
Thanks for joining me for another episode of America This Week, United We Stand. Now, don't forget, next Friday, I'm hosting a 1-hour special America This Week town hall with President Trump. It's an event you won't want to miss, and you'll only see it here. Go to your Sinclair station's website for all the details on how to watch and participate. We'll be covering battleground states and the issues that matter to you. America This Week has reached out to the Biden-Harris campaign to offer up a similar event. We'll let you know if we hear back. Have a great night, everybody.